What's up, Blur Gang? I'm back with another barber tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I approach a blowout taper, and I'm also going to be doing some beard work. So let's get right into it. I'm going to begin by parting a central profile guide. This is going to be a stationary guide that will run from the front all the way to the back of my client's head, and it's going to provide us a roadmap to cut the blowout length consistently. Alright, so now that I've parted out my section, I'm just going to go ahead and take about ½ an inch off. My client wants to keep most of his length, so we felt like ½ an inch would be a good length to take off just for maintenance and to kind of take off those dead ends. Alright, so after establishing the central profile guide, I'm just going to go ahead and take horizontal sections and match each side to the profile guide. So once I've matched both sides to the central profile guide, I'm going to go ahead and turn my client and give him a cross check by taking vertical sections. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow us to catch anything that we missed when we were cutting with horizontal sections. Alright, so now that I have the blowout length cut down with scissors, I'm going to use clip over comb to prep the shape and the base to all the areas in the haircut that will eventually be faded out and lined up. Tapering down these areas is going to allow us for a clean canvas and a smooth base to blend and edge up. So just a few things to note while doing clip over comb. The comb length flush to the head, I consider a number 1. And then the clipper no guard lever open, I consider a 0.5. So if I was going with the comb flush to the head and cutting it that way, I would consider that to be a 1.5 length. So I will use a 1.5 guard to blend into that clip over comb length, if that makes sense. Right? But in this case, we're doing a blowout, more of a blowout shape, so I'm going to manipulate the angle of my comb to create that shape and just give us that buildup of weight. Another quick tip is that when you're trying to shape and debulk using clip over comb technique, you want to use horizontal clipper strokes. And when you're blending with clip over comb, you want to use vertical clipper strokes. Alright, so after I finish with clip over comb, I'm just going to go ahead and quickly diffuse my client's hair just to bring out that texture. And then we're going to get right into that taper. So here we are, I'm going to set my initial guide, no guard closed, and we're going to be doing a high taper. And right now I'm just taking my no guard through the motions just to blend in that beard. I'm going with the grain and then against the grain. And I'm using a really light hand just to kind of finesse it. Alright, so now that that beard is faded in, I'm going to go ahead and set my second guideline. No guard lever all the way open. And then I'm going to use some lever play. Just take my no guard through the motions and take out that second guide. Really using a light hand and just the corners of my clipper. Alright, moving on to the nape area, I'm going to repeat the exact same 2 steps. I'm going to set my initial guide, no guard closed, my second guide, no guard open, and then I'm going to use some lever play to take out that guide. after that, I'm going to go ahead and throw my 1 guard on, and I'm going to take that through the motion starting from open, working my way down to close. Continuing to fade down, I have my half guard on, and I'm just going to quickly scoop out that last line. And then coming back to the temple, I'm going to go ahead and throw my 1 guard on starting open, and I'm going to take this guard through the motions, working my way down to middle and close. And the same thing we did on the nape area, continuing to fade down. I got my half guard on, starting open, and I'm taking it through the motions and just flicking out that last line. Alright, so moving on to our last fade area, we're just going to repeat those exact same steps. No guard closed, no guard open, lever play, and then moving into our guard work, and we're just going to complete this blend. Alright, so after I've finished my clipper work, I'm just going to go ahead and go in there with some shear over comb. Just do some detail work, get those dark areas, and just fix up that shape. Basically, cut those dark spots and areas that your clipper would take too much. So this is more of a selective cutting with shear over comb. Alright, so to prep his lineup, I'm just going to go ahead and taper his hairline down further with some trimmer over comb. This is going to give me a really clean canvas so that when I do put my trimmers on there, it's going to give me a nice, sharp, crispy line. Alright, so now that the length is nice and prepped for us, I'm going to go in with my hitters and start my initial line in the center. I located his highest point in the hairline in the center, so this worked out great. And I'm just going to work my way to both sides and just square that off. So I'm prepared. I know some of you guys are going to think this is a pushback, but if you guys seen his hairline, you know, it needed some major work, and this is how we like to do his hair. He likes to have his hairline nice and sharp like this, and if we're going to make it nice and sharp from its starting point, we got to do some cosmetic work, you know what I'm saying? So I'm keeping it as natural as possible. I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping everything in. I'm not trying to push back anything too crazy, but I am getting rid of that overhang hair. So it is a lot of hair. It's going to make it look like you're taking off an unnatural amount, but it's got to be done if we're trying to get a nice crispy lineup, especially with this type of natural lineup. Alright, so moving on to the nape lineup. This is my favorite part personally in the taper. I love doing this lineup. It just brings everything together, and I'm basically just going to go ahead and frame that neck taper, and it's going to make everything really pop out. Alright, so we finished one half of the lineup. I'm just going to go ahead and finish off the other half. And then just a quick side note, when you guys are using trimmers, always have like a finger. I like to use my pointer finger as a brace, just to make sure that you have stability with the trimmer and you're getting a precise line that you intend to cut. Alright, so quick tip around the ears, you only want to use the corner of your trimmers as like a pencil and just draw that line in nice and clean, nice and natural. And I like to do around the ears like the cane area first because it sets me up for the direction of my nape lineup. And as I mentioned before, the nape lineup is my personal favorite part of a taper, and this one's coming out nasty. Alright, so the final step in the haircut. We're going to use our straight blade. When you're using a straight blade, you want to make sure that you really stretch the skin. Give yourself a firm surface for the blade to glide on. If you don't, it's going to be very easy to nick your client, and that's the last thing you guys want to do. So basically, I'm just going to take my straight blade and go over all the line work I did with my trimmers and just make those lines really pop out. So after this straight blade step, this is going to conclude today's barber tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. We went over a blowout high taper with some beard work. I hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed watching my video. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Much love from the bottom of my heart. It means the world. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. And yeah, let's keep getting better as a community. I'm going to stay consistent with this content. Let's grow together. Blurry out.